We want to say a shout out to our sponsors, Watchman Cigars, 1812 BBQ, Blue Collar Cycle Shop, Hookline and Heroes, and our new sponsor, Words of Hope. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Words of Hope. If you're like us, it's really hard to get time in the Word of God, and that's where our friends Word of Hope comes into play. Words of Hope is a daily devotional podcast bringing a few minutes of comfort and hope to your day. Each episode includes a passage of Scripture and a thoughtful reflection, and at only 5 minutes long, you can listen anywhere and anytime. Words of Hope is available wherever you listen to your podcasts. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, where it's our take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, and you, the listener, are getting a degree in common sense. We are broadcasting from our blue-collar biker studios right here in beautiful Concord, North Carolina. We do have a great show lined up for you, as always, but before we begin, let me introduce you to our starting lineup. Doing the video is Magic Man.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
At the control booth, at the control helms, is our producer, Brian.
Hey, guys.
I, of course, be your host, Biggun. And across the town sits the pride of Anderson, South Carolina. But most of you probably know him best as the Silver Tongue won 2016's Honorable Mention IBS Champion of the Year, the inventor of the Redneck Egg Roll. Give it up on old mic number one. It's Mojo!
Glad to be back with you guys this week. Had to take a week off last week. Appreciate you tuning in. You guys can find us pretty much anywhere you listen to your podcast. You can go to Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you listen to your podcast. Just go there, hit search Southern Fried Philosophy. You can hit the subscribe, give us a rating, give us a review. The ratings are pretty important because that's how we move up in the old podcast algorithms, especially with the old iTunes or podcast on the Apple phone. That's what I use. I'm kind of an idiot, so I appreciate you guys if you could guys. Yeah, well, it's specific is specifically made for me.
Oh,
trust me. Yeah, God, my. Also, Facebook. You can go to Facebook and just search Southern Fried Philosophy. That's where we kind of do our stupid memes and interaction with a lot of our listeners. Have we been doing this how many episodes?
This will be 146, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Man, my phone keeps acting up here.
Well,
so.
I didn't want to say anything earlier. I was doing the intro, and then all of a sudden my Google thing started going off in the background. Hey, buddy.
Also, hey, check out our website at southernfriedphilosophy.com. We do have our playable links there while you guys are hanging at home, working in the garden, starting your own medicinal marijuana dispensary in your backyard, whatever you got time for. You. Hey, YouTube is pretty awesome. You can also find us on the YouTubes now, youtube.com/SFP Radio. Instagram and Twitter's SFP Radio. I think that's pretty much it. Also, patreon.com/SFP Radio.
All right. Also, I do want to say, if you are one of our new Facebook subscribers, this is to you. If we could just get, and I did the math, if we could get 53% of our Facebook subscribers, our social media subscribers, to actually subscribe and listen to the show, we would be a completely different place. So we would really appreciate you. If you are listening via Facebook, YouTube's, if you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, just subscribe, listen. We will have, our numbers will skyrocket if 53% of y'all just do that. We would really appreciate that. Also, our upcoming guest next week, a personal hero of mine, a friend of the show, Ryan Lemon from Kentucky Sports Radio, will be our special guest next week. He's the co-host of one of the one of the top sports talk radios in the entire country. So he's going to talk about his media experience. He's going to talk about being an adoptive dad, and just what it's like to be in one of the top spots in the industry. So we're really excited. I'm really excited to have him on. So appreciate that. Also, if you're stuck at home and you think, hey, I can do my own podcast better than these guys, you're probably right. Why don't you contact our producer Brian, at SFP Headlines, and you can ask him, hey, how do I start a podcast? How can I get this thing rolling? And he can definitely help you with that. Any words that you want to say, Producer Brian, on that?
Yeah. So I've made a few podcasts. I got some more coming up, actually. Yeah, if someone's interested in starting one, just need advice or need some, we can probably get someone off the ground for not a lot of money. It's a pretty approachable medium to get into. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that, headlines at SFP Radio is the email address.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I had it backwards.
Yeah, no worries.
My dyslexia kicked in. I apologize. Also, just a personal note. We have made it on the big board of the U.S. for almost all of the 50 states. The ones that we are missing, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but New Hampshire, Vermont, Delaware, which I can kind of get. They're up there. They're, fancy schmancy. They're not in the South. I get it. West Virginia, I'm a little concerned about you, West Virginia.
They don't have the internet in West Virginia.
That's probably it. Yeah. They don't know what a podcast is yet. So that could be it. West Virginia, North and South Dakota, Wyoming, and oddly enough, Alaska. You would think you're not doing anything in Alaska. You've got 25 hours of daylight. Not doing nothing. Might as well listen to the show. But those are the ones that we need to fill in for the rest of the 50 states. So if you have friends in New Hampshire, Vermont, Delaware, West Virginia, North, South Dakota, Wyoming, or Alaska, if you'll tell your friends about that, have them tag us in a Facebook post, you tag us and say, hey, I got so-and-so to listen to the show, I'll send you a hat. That's all I need. I want to color in this map. It's driving me bananas. Every week I look and they're not filled in. So we would appreciate that. So
is that like one of those RV maps?
Basically.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah. We've done almost all of them. We've got 8 left, which I think is pretty phenomenal. What are your thoughts, Producer Brian?
Yeah, that's pretty good. You almost collect them all there.
It's like Pokemon.
Right?
You got to catch them all.
So what do you do when you get them all? You start picking like Canadian provinces?
Oh, yeah. Then we're going to go Canada.
Okay.
So we'll go up, and then we'll go south, and then we'll start going around the world.
So we can add like poutine to part of our, life, liberty, gravy, and poutine, right? It's gravy on fries, basically, right? So why not?
Mojo, you told me about this place in Greenville. You're like, you got to eat there because Jess and I were going down to Greenville, and they had poutine. And do you remember the name of it? It was just it was a really nice restaurant. I can't remember what the name of it was, but we were looking for
Southern something, Southern culture.
I think that's what it was. They also had Kentucky Ale on draft, which, hey, buddy, that's some good stuff.
That's a bonus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one thing that I did want to point out, our order of things is going to be a little bit different. Normally, we'll go to How You Be Dern, but we've got a special guest coming up on Wacky News that we're going to just go straight into Wacky News, brought to you by our friends at 1812 Barbecue. Eric is cranking out, again, some phenomenal barbecue, brisket, wonderful sides. You can contact him. He can hook you up, slide some over your way, like contactless delivery, like, everybody else is doing. He can hook you up. So check out our friends at 1812 Barbecue. Also, he has some rubs. Producer Brian and Mojo, you both have used their rubs, right? The 1812 rub.
Yeah, sure have. I love that stuff on like London broil, like any kind of beef on a smoker is awesome.
Mojo, what have you used it for, or did you use it?
Chicken. I've used it for beef. I'm trying to think something else. I think we made fajitas one night with it too. Just some changing up.
Come on with it. How about you get
put it on everything?
Fancy?
That stuff's good on everything.
Well, I mean, I miss sitting in a Mexican restaurant, drowning my sorrows with cheese dip and salsa. So
That was our.
You gotta make.
That was our weekly tradition, is to go to the Fiesta Mexicana
every Sunday,
and now we're not able to do that.
I've noticed they've been closed too, because I want to do DoorDash and have them bring some food, but they keep saying closed.
Not the one I go to.
I know you could do the pickup there.
Yeah.
So there's that option.
You also have the cheat option of actually ordering an Uber and then calling the Uber driver and telling them what you're actually picking up. I use that all the time.
Wait. What now? What are you doing?
Yeah. You actually order an Uber to the place that you're wanting to go, and then you actually can have them pick up your stuff. Because where I'm at, where the shop is in Salisbury, Uber Eats, DoorDash, a lot of those guys don't go to certain restaurants that you want to eat at that you're trying to help out. And a lot of times I don't have time. So actually I'll order an Uber to the destination point, call the driver directly immediately after you order the Uber and tell them that you're actually picking up a prepaid order. They'll grab it for you. I mean, because they're looking for work. And plus they ain't got to be around someone with a Rona. So, yeah, it's a win-win for them.
Wow. I've never thought of that hack, but that's fantastic.
Actually, when I was driving for Lyft,
I've actually had them I've also had them pick up beer and liquor before too. So
well done, sir.
I had a guy when I was driving for Lyft who forgot his keys or his wallet. And he was at the airport, so he had the pickup at his house. So I went to his house, and his wife brought out his wallet or his keys or something, and I drove to the airport. And this was like they were in Mooresville, so this was like a 45-minute drive with no people in the car. To like drop off, and they were in like a parking lot or something. But
well, how about it?
Best ride
ever. About that.
Yeah, I've had documents sent to me that way. Through like lenders and stuff through the shop. So yeah,
super hack.
Hey, you get creative.
No doubt. That's fantastic. Speaking about creative, a North Carolina farm rents out miniature donkey to crash video calls. Let me go ahead and read the article, and then we can bring in our guest. North Carolina, or Indian Trail, North Carolina, a miniature donkey named Mambo, number 5, is getting into some online love in North Carolina, where a farm is getting in on the idea of having animals spice up tedious virtual meetings during the coronavirus pandemic. The AP News reports Peace and Peace Farms will rent Mambo, the 8-year-old miniature donkey, and his friends to crash company conference calls. The Charlotte Observer reported the camera-crowding donkey is like a pesky little brother that doesn't let anyone relax too long. Francie Dunlap, Mambo's owner, said companies can choose other farm animals they want to invite on their guests, such as 3 horses, along with chickens and ducks. Dunlap said, I think it would get some laughs. Customers can reserve 10 minutes with the animals for $50. Dunlap said the coworkers can also choose virtual meeting name for their farm animals. If you guys do this next week and then put the donkey name as Biggun, I'm okay with that. Since she created the website on Saturday, Dunlap said she also gotten requests from teachers who want the animals to crash their virtual classrooms. Wow. How about that?
Being creative.
Do we have our guest on the line?
No, we do not.
Well, how about that?
Yeah. We're 2 minutes early, so maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, so I'm actually paying attention to that to let him in, too, so.
Well, yeah. Well, how about it? Coming in a little late. Well, if you want P's and P's, if you want Mambo to come in on time, you got to be right on time for that, I guess. What would be some good scenarios that you guys can think of to have these animals crash your conference calls?
If I'm ever doing a virtual IRS audit, that'd be great.
My daughter does like a weekly, or this was her last week, but she has like an acrobat class, like a dance acro class. With all the
Who
kids
does?
My daughter has like a class because we're paying for this stuff still. So like they're teaching her stuff over Zoom
swim,
not swim, acro, like acrobatic.
Oh,
yeah, she's not down on the carpet like practicing surfing or anything.
That's what I was getting a little concerned about. Oh my gosh.
So that'd be fun, a bunch of kids in the class, and have a donkey pop in.
Sure.
How about we do a virtual Zoom presidential debate with a jackass and an elephant?
Get them all on there.
Just standing in.
Would they actually, would you ask them questions?
Sure.
That'd be entertaining. Just see which one poops first. Maybe that's kind of what we're doing.
That's how you pick Super Bowl winners, right?
Do we have any comments from our Facebook Live or YouTube Live?
Well, says asking or is stating that she hopes we're all having a good week. She's on YouTube.
All right. Well, thank you, Leanne. I appreciate that.
I think there's one watcher on each platform right now.
Well, we are
there's a new one right here.
We actually have 11 people on all the platforms watching us right now. And
11.
I apologize for this. We thought we were going to be going right into this.
It's a
all right.
Finely tuned machine here.
What's next on the agenda?
Yeah, we'll just move out and then we'll keep going on. Also, all of our wacky news brought to you by the state of North Carolina. A woman facing charges for impersonating an FBI agent online on a dating site. Charlotte, North Carolina. A North Carolina woman was sentenced to 3 years in prison for impersonating an FBI agent on an online dating site and while she's on a date. Rhianne Brownlee, who identified herself as Agent Alexandria Mancini, you would think that they might know the difference, posted in a dating profile with a fake FBI badge and a stolen gun. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of North Carolina said Thursday in a news release. Brownlee had prior convictions on various charges, including identity theft. You don't say. The day she got arrested in February, she told the date that she was working as an undercover agent in a drug case without the awareness of law enforcement. Her record paints a picture of a person who will not be stopped from stealing people's identity and using falsehoods to get what she wants. She was also driving, get this, a stolen car when she was arrested.
Wow.
I don't think anything about that woman was real, including probably her hair. Y'all, that's something.
My question here is,
questions.
Is that a thing? Is FBI agent a quality that you look for on a dating site? Like, why would you, of all things to impersonate, is that, I don't know. I'm trying to understand why you go that direction.
Maybe she binge watched Quantico and was like, I'm all up in this lifestyle. Here we go. Let's go. Sometimes I'll watch enough episodes of Law and Order, the original one, that I think I'm an attorney. But there's that.
Oh.
Well, hold on. If people can identify as whatever they want to,
why not?
Choose plural pronouns. Why can't you identify as an FBI agent?
I think that there's qualifications you have to have.
I think it's illegal, actually. Yeah.
No, but there's no qualifications for identifying as something else that you're not biologically are. Why not identify as an FBI agent?
Well, we'll say that.
I'm sorry. I'm back to stir the pot.
Can I identify as a prime minister? Okay.
Sure. How about prime rib?
I'm also going to identify as your next heart transplant doctor. So there's that.
The 1812 barbecue story started over 20 years ago when Eric and his dad started entering local barbecue competitions for fun. During that time, Eric, a United States Marine, has traveled all over the world picking up flavors and techniques that today is the unique flavor of the award-winning 1812 barbecue. He has honed his craft to bring you fall-off-the-bone pulled pork, mouth-watering ribs, and finely crafted beef brisket. Eric has developed his own amazing dry rub and delicious barbecue sauce. And let's not forget the sides: coleslaw, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, cowboy baked beans, and to top it all off, banana pudding and pecan pie for dessert. Getting hungry yet? Good. Call or email Eric at 1812barbecue and he can make your next catered meal happen. Wedding and graduation parties, family reunions, and other events will be memorable with 1812 barbecue. Want to try your own hand at smoking meats? Pick up your own 1812 dry rub and start the journey for yourself. Shipping all over the world, connect with Eric on his Facebook page Instagram at 1812barbecue, or call 704-604-5148, or email Eric at eric.line@1812barbecue.com, and he'll be glad to help any way he can.
Okay, we got
that works.
we have Mambo is waiting to join our call here. So
all right,
all right, here we go.
Hey, Francie, how are you? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic.
I'm good. How are you?
Well, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. We're doing great. Francie, we just talked about Mambo and the article that was in the AP News. Tell us about Peace and Peace Farms and what do you guys do?
We're a little small family hobby farm just east of Charlotte, North Carolina. And we mostly have, my daughter is an FEI dressage horse instructor, horse trainer.
Okay.
So it's mostly horses, but we also have this naughty little mini donkey that she got. And we used to have goats, but now we just have chickens and a couple of ducks, and we've downsized a bit, but yeah, and my husband has huge gardens. We have lots of fruits and vegetables.
Oh, wow. So is this a farm that people can go out and just get some vegetables and fruits from you guys?
We just mainly either give away or sell to family or clients. It's not that big. We preserve most of our food, put in the freezer, feed our kids.
I bet you're in high demand right now. How about that?
Yeah, so you're probably pretty prepared, I'd imagine, right now.
What was that, Mojo?
That's right.
Yeah, I'm sure she's probably pretty prepared right now compared to if she had a racket in making toilet paper. She'd probably be on top of everything right now.
I know. We were lucky for that last little Costco run because we don't use paper towels, but we're not quite ready for that family TP, family cloth or whatever.
No, ma'am. So how did the idea come about where you decided, hey, I'm going to try to get Mambo on the conference calls?
Well, all this stay-at-home orders and quarantine stuff started, and I was doing virtual happy hours with my friend. And when I was sitting out on the back deck with a glass of wine, they would hear the donkey braying or the rooster crowing and say, hey, show me your animals. And I'd take my phone out and show them the horses and everything. And so that was just really fun for them. And then I had a couple friends suggest you should rent Mambo, our donkey, out for virtual meeting. And so I build websites and I quick slapped up a website mostly just for laughs to entertain my friends. But it was a functioning website. But it was all free to build for me. And so then it got in the media and it went viral the next day. And we started getting all these bookings. And it was only 2 days later that we had our first call. So we were just sort of winging it and made it up as we went along. And I did not have in my calendar, full-time job Zooming with my donkey or anything. So it's been pretty weird.
Yeah. What has been some of the most memorable calls that you've crashed?
There's been a few. We love the little kids. We have classrooms of all ages, from preschoolers to college. And then there's been a couple where you could tell that the people have either already been Zoom bombed and crashed, or they've read about it. And so we've been either kicked off immediately or almost kicked off. And the pranksters just like, no, wait, I invited the donkey, kind of thing. So, but other times when there's somebody that, is inviting the donkey on as a joke for their group, whether it's happy hour or a meeting, a lot of times the people in the meeting will be like, was that you, Mike? And they all correctly guess who the prankster was. And then a couple of times there's been like somebody trying to just lighten the mood for a few minutes for a serious meeting, but the boss is just like all business. And And then it's just uncomfortable silence because the boss is just like ignoring the whole donkey thing. And everybody else is either laughing or waiting to see the reaction.
That's so funny. I didn't know you also rented out Magic Man. He's been photobombing us for the past 3 episodes, so I didn't know he was our videographer. So how can people get a hold of you so that they can also rent Mambo or your ducks or horses or your chickens?
Dangrooster.com.
Is that the website? Dangrooster.com?
Dang Rooster, yeah.
Okay. Wow. So what has been some of the, you mentioned like the awkward part. Is the kids seeing their faces? Is that pretty fun for you to do?
Oh yeah, they all love it. And plus even the adults, just everybody, they're like, their faces, they're like going on to yet another Zoom meeting or whatever. And then their faces will just totally transform into happiness and laughing. And they love watching us like scratch them or pet them. And it's funny to us because we're so used to it and seeing them in our backyard. But, most of these people aren't. We've kind of forgotten that novelty. But it is nice. It lightens the mood. We've had like some doctors needing to do their twice a week COVID meetings. And so that's serious, but they still, invited this donkey on and named him Dr. Equus. And we tried to hold up a bra, like to be a face mask. And they were just all down for it. They were wanting to just laugh for 10 minutes and then move on to their seriousness. So it's good all around.
Yeah, I bet it feels good for you to also bring just some laughter during while everybody's trying to be serious. I'm sure that helps you guys too.
Yeah, it's a weird time.
Did you ever think that this was going to be a thing for you?
No, I did not plan on this. And so now it's only working because I have my daughter. I have 2 daughters and a husband helping with all this. I can't actually physically wrangle donkeys and manage all of this. So it just was serendipity that it all fell together and worked. And I don't expect it to last a long time. I think it'll peter out after, the media goes away and after quarantine is lifted. But in the meantime, it's fun.
We have a listener who's actually asking if it's confirming, is this $50 for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
There you go, Jennifer.
And we will have all the information on our show notes for you as well. So
yeah, apparently there's a horse named Eddie. Is that correct?
Yep.
And the line here on the website says he may or may not wear a jacket, and he definitely won't be wearing pants.
That's too true. And we're adding stuff to them. We have a little birthday hat that Mambo will wear, and we have a whiteboard that people like us to write stuff on. And we have Cinco de Mayo coming up. And so we have all sorts of suggestions for that with the donkey, of course. We've done the happy hours and we're playing Never Have I Ever with the donkey.
Oh, wow. I imagine, again, it's just a great time. And it sounds like people are just getting really creative with this.
Oh, yeah. Yep. We're open to suggestions.
Very cool. So we'll have all your information on the show notes. Francie, thank you so much for just dropping in. We really appreciate it.
Sure. You're very welcome.
You have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that was cool.
Yeah. How cool was that?
Mojo, did you have any questions? I just let her go. My fault.
I'm all good. I mean, I think I may actually start renting this donkey out for half my virtual closings for motorcycles.
Well, go ahead.
They'll probably listen to the donkey just about as much as they do with me. So
sure,
it could work out.
You might have some traction there. All right. So our last wacky news: an organizer of a North Carolina group called on the state to ease its coronavirus restrictions, was unable to attend 2 rallies because guess what? She tested positive for the disease. Audria Whitlock, who administers the Facebook page Reopen North Carolina, was under quarantine for 2 weeks ending Sunday after testing positive for the coronavirus. She said, I remained in isolation, self-quarantine at my home per the direction of my county health department. I have not attended any of the Reopen NC events. While the organizer was in isolation, the group held 2 other rallies in North Carolina, urging Governor Cooper to speed up plans and lift the stay-at-home order, which is in effect in North Carolina at least until May 8th. She first revealed that she had the coronavirus in a private post on the group's Facebook page on Sunday. As an asymptomatic COVID-19 positive patient, Whitlock wrote in a message, another concern I have is the treatment of the COVID-19 patients as it relates to other communicable diseases. I have been forced to quarantine in my home for 2 weeks. So she is trying to protest the stay-at-home orders while she herself gets the coronavirus. I feel like Alanis Morissette should write a song about that. Isn't that ironic? I got nothing out of that. Nothing.
I think it's just a twist of irony, but I'm actually a member of that page group because I believe we do need to reopen North Carolina.
Sure.
Yeah. I've actually reached out to her to have them on for an interview.
That'd be fun.
Haven't heard anything back yet.
She's probably self-quarantine.
Yeah.
I just think it's ironic. That's all.
But she did say she was asymptomatic, which you probably could have a large majority of the population already asymptomatic.
Sure, 100%. No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, there's a ton of politics. I also agree we need to reopen, but I think the science and the numbers prove that. But I just think it's ironic. That's all.
No, I agree.
All right, so and again, because we had to twist the show a little bit to have our friends from Peace and Peace Farms, we did Wacky News first. But let me ask you, like I ask you guys every week, how you be doing? Magic Man, go. How you be doing?
Just fine, thank you. How about you?
Good. Everything's good on the TP front. I saw that you started a new project in the house with ripping up the old flooring. How's that going?
It's actually going pretty good. We've slowed down because we're doing the full-time working thing during the week. But it was my stepdaughter's old bedroom, and we had removed the carpet back in 2018 and just now getting around to putting the flooring down. So we got about half the flooring down. Then we'll have do paint the walls, baseboards, all that kind of good stuff, and then be able to use it again.
So the project started in 2018, and I'm just writing this down here, just carrying the numbers here. So that's 2 years you're getting to it. Listen, I don't feel nearly as bad for all my honeydew lists right now.
Well, we did manage to do the whole downstairs last year, all through the all the rooms.
Right. Make me feel bad.
The half bath. We actually redid the half bath, new vanity, new toilet, new fixtures, all that stuff. So
wow,
yeah. So that room up there wasn't really being used other than storing stuff. So it wasn't as necessary and wasn't hurting anybody just being the subfloor. But we're like, hey,
sure.
If you want to have anybody come over and spend the night or whatever, it'd be nice to have a guest room.
Producer Brian will know about that. I will say I have waited 4 years to paint the front door. I have not yet done that yet. So maybe I'm a little worse. Producer Brian, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm relieved today because there was some time yesterday that I thought I was going to be going blind.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So I'll back up the story a little bit. Yesterday afternoon, my wife and daughter were both in Zoom meetings, so I took my son out to ride his bike. So walking out, open the garage door.
Mambo was not involved with this, right?
Sorry, what?
Mambo was not involved in the Zoom meetings.
No, I don't believe so. I wasn't in the Zoom meetings, so no one told me there was a donkey.
That's fair.
Yep. So the door's coming up, and I see like these little white things falling off the garage door. That's really weird. And I look at my son, and he's got ant eggs all over him, like ants and like falling out of the garage door.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and I probably haven't opened it in a week and a half, the garage door. So he doesn't know what's happening. So I just brush him off real quick. Hey, go stand over there. No, don't freak out.
Yeah, no big deal.
So I close. I've got a 5-gallon bucket of ant killer. I keep on hand just in case.
Just for fun.
Just in case. Well, I'm allergic to fire ants, so if I see any kind of ant, it's not pretty. But so I get the thing out, and so on the garage door, it's all panels, and the ant colony, it's a small colony, is like eye level to me.
Ooh.
Like the third tier up on this garage door. So I get my ant spray, and I get a pump, and I start spraying. Well, yesterday was really windy.
Oh, no.
So I start spraying, and then I just get this, like, rush of ant poison in my face.
Oh, no.
And then I don't know if it was, like, hypochondria or something, but, for, like, the rest of the night, I was like, why is everything blurry? Is everything blurry? So in my head, I had a catastrophic, accident. But I'm fine today. So, anyway.
Well, one, I'm glad to know that you're fine.
I'm great.
And you can see. Two, will this be quickly followed up by the website, Is Producer Brian Blind?
Oh, there we go.
It's going to be RayCharlesExterminating.com.
You didn't say that.
Oh, I got to write that down. That's
Or HelenKellerExterminating.com. You got two choices there.
Which one's?
Hey, Stevie Wonder.
That.
Can't forget him, too.
Oh, no.
Yeah. There you go.
Y'all. Mojo, how you be doing?
I'm good. Exhausted.
Sure you are.
So just to kind of give you a little rundown on this is a little less humorous, I guess, than producer Brian's. But so for the past week and a half, we've been really busy at our shop, which is awesome. But we did decide to do an act of philanthropy. A friend of ours in Salisbury who owns a barbershop called Man-Made Barber. Obviously, they were forced to close due to the Rona regulations here in North Carolina. But he's got a big heart. Since I met the guy in Salisbury, I've kind of tapped him as the honorary mayor of Salisbury because he seems to know everybody. And he knows the needs of the area. Anyway, so he posted a challenge to base all the residents and friends on his page. He showed a picture of the empty pantries at Rowing Helping Ministries, which is Rowan County, covers Salisbury and also the outlying county. But the pantry was basically just bare, and this ain't just a small pantry. This is a warehouse.
Wow.
So they raised funds and food for this organization. So obviously we felt compelled because we're in the community there. Sure. So we put out a kind of a call to action for our guests, customers, potential customers, our community. And we had kind of an impromptu bike run and several other things kind of come together last Saturday. We collected nearly 2,100 pounds of food through that drive. Obviously, we're continuing that because the need is still there. We didn't want to be just a one and done type college athlete, so we continued there. We're matching everything through the shop, dollar for dollar, product for product, to keep that. But here's the staggering number, and for anyone who I've had this conversation probably 12 times a day. For anyone who doesn't think we need to open back up the country, I beg to differ. We sent nearly 2,200 pounds of food to Rowan Helping Ministries, and that helps only 20 families for 1 week.
Wait, repeat that, please.
So we took nearly 2,200 pounds. I think the exact number was 2,163 pounds of food to Rowan Helping Ministries. That only helps 20 families for 1 week.
Wow.
I'm talking about 3 truckloads of food, canned goods, macaroni, ramen, things that shelf stable. Yeah. They help 40 families a day on slow days.
Wow.
So And these just to kind of hammer home the amount of need. These aren't families who qualify for food assistance. These are families who fall above the income bracket for that. So it's basically the working class, the blue collar families out there. These aren't people who are eligible to receive food assistance, so they can't go to the grocery store to make a purchase with funds they don't have. These are people that are having to make a decision of, do I pay my bill here or do I put food on the table? Yeah. So anyway, we've been doing that. Like I said, we've been doing that for a little a week and a half. I guess by the time this airs, we'll do 2 weeks. So we're hoping to raise as much as we can. So that's what we've been doing. That's the reason why I wasn't on last week, just preparing for that endeavor for the weekend. And that's where we're at.
If people want to give, how do they give?
Well, great question. I'm glad you brought that up. Just like we've had on our show in the past, just before the rest of the guys came on, we interviewed Fill My Basket out of Oklahoma, and these are guys that kind of inspired that social awareness. Obviously, if you live in the North Carolina area, especially in the Rowan County area, you can donate directly to Rowan County, Rowan Helping Ministries. But I'm pretty sure, and I'll put money on this, that this need is probably nationwide. Sure. So I encourage anyone listening to this that to think about your local food bank, the ones that are private ministries, and doesn't have to necessarily be quote unquote church affiliated or whatever. It could just be a person who saw a need, started a nonprofit. Seek out those food banks to find out their need, and I'm pretty sure their need is great. Some of these food banks are maybe seeing a need for 10 people a day, and now they're when you multiply that exponentially, they're running out. I mean, like our local food bank would go through maybe a pallet of green beans a week. Now they're going through a pallet every 2 days. Wow. So the need is just there. So obviously, if you want to contact me through our business Facebook page, you can contact us at Blue Collar Cycle Company on Facebook. You can email us at bluecollarcycleco@gmail.com. And also, actually, our shop cell phone number is 980-621-7399. If you want to give us directly, and if you give directly, we're actually matching dollar for dollar through the shop. So, whatever that is, we'll do the shopping for you. But yeah, it's just a need out there right now that I think sometimes all we hear are numbers and stats every day. We don't see real faces in need. So anyway, we talk about this often. I'm not everybody's branded Christian. I kind of preface that with a lot of conversations I start with a lot of people, just because I'm not that person who, wears the khaki Dockers and the pressed white shirt and the clip-on tie. I was that person once upon a go, but I'm not everybody's brand now. But I do believe in the words of Jesus, where he basically just said, "Follow me." And we saw, if you read the Gospels, you see where it takes place with giving and watching your fellow man, helping your fellow neighbor. Sometimes we hand money blindly, not knowing where it's going. But I'm telling you, there's no better rush than to find out what the need is and then actually supply the need, knowing that you're helping directly. So I encourage that to anyone listening anywhere, just to seek that need. I'm like I said, dollars to donuts, I guarantee you that there's a need in your local area. So I encourage anyone to do that.
And you posted a video today with Operation Decisive Victory, and we've had them on the show. Can you tell a little bit about 10-2 and what he's needing as well? And
So 10-2 and his wife Donna started a little organization called Operation Decisive Victory. Operation Decisive Victory was birthed out of the need for, I'm not putting words in 10-2's mouth, but the failure of the VA system and the government to take care of our veterans. I don't care what side of the fence you fall on with military, but this is our tax dollars using and abusing our men and women, our own blood and flesh of this country. And they don't have a backup safety net for these guys. And I think where Donna and 10-2, former Marine, or I'm sure as he would say, a Marine for life, they got discharged and basically there was some gaps in the system to not meet his needs for PTSD and things like that. So these guys were inspired to start Operation Decisive Victory to help fill that gap where the government VA system falls. I mean, they suit their needs and for their budget purposes, and then anything above and beyond that, then they can't meet. So anyway, 10-2 reached out, or Donna reached out to me yesterday in our local area. Salisbury, North Carolina, where I'm at, has our state VA hospital there. Big hospital right down the street. Coincidentally, we also have one of the largest veterans homeless populations in the whole state too, just because other cities will ship our veterans to the VA in Salisbury. The VA will, treat the wound and then basically send them out. And a lot of these guys and gals actually have other problems besides just, a sore or infection. They actually have other issues. And anyway, so 10-2, Donna reached out to us yesterday about helping out with doing some fundraising to help out the organization, because the need now, with the corona and the COVID, whatever you want to call it, corona, COVID, Chinese kung flu, whatever you want to call it.
So get that song stuck in Brian's head again. Let's not do that.
But a lot of local government-assisted organizations like shelters, things like that, have shut down or even tightened up their criteria to allow the homeless population or families or people in need in due to possible infection or exposure. So, with that being said, 10-2 and Donna reached out for us to help as far as organizing a fundraiser. And I'd like to also extend that to our show listeners. If you got a few bucks, donate, because not only does every dollar count, over 90% of every dollar donated to Operation Decisive Victory goes directly to the veteran, not to bottom line organizations. Usually, if you see I'm sure if you saw on a corporate breakdown of a lot of these charities, probably majority of it goes to their bottom line versus the recipient. Yep. So every dollar that you give will help them out. So you go to operationdv.com, Operation Decisive Victory. Their website's great. I mean, you can see everything they represent, reason why they're there, and just all kinds of facts and whatnot about the organization. And 10-2 and Donna's passion for what they do speaks volumes. Yeah. When 10-2 gets a call, he's on the road. He's not waiting till final approval through 17 bumper stoppers. I mean, he's out there. I don't, not that my name is important, but I'm not going to put my name behind something that I don't believe in. And I'm not a veteran, but my father is, my grandfather was before him. And I can see in our community, I can see the failures of our system. So places like Operation Decisive Victory, I don't mean to steal this whole time right now, but places like Operation Decisive Victory, the guys are actually on the ground doing what our tax dollars should be doing. So I really admire these guys. So if you have $1, $2, buy some cans of food, food for your local food bank, donate to an organization like Decisive Victory. Decisive Victory is not just in our area. Decisive Victory also does nationwide. Yep. In fact,
very key.
Tintu actually said that they're helping out a vet family that's way northeast, if you think about that. So they're not just in North Carolina. They actually have a group of passionate volunteers who are nationwide. So they got boots on the ground everywhere. So anyway, Operation DV, Operation Decisive Victory. Check them out.
That was episode 132. We interviewed them if you want to hear more about their story and why they started that organization.
Yeah, great organization.
Yeah. And Northeast, if they have listeners, and again in New Hampshire, Vermont, Delaware. Great. Just throwing that out there. Mojo, I would like to say right now, you know how I cry. You know how I cry.
You better start. I might be with you.
The Southern Fried Philosophy podcast will donate $500 to whatever charity you'd like.
Well, I would. We need to do that to Operation Decisive Victory. I think that's the biggest need right now.
I will write a check to Operation Decisive Victory in your name.
Oh no, not my name. In fact, I will match that.
Well, now we're all going to start crying. All right. Better not play that music. There we go.
And for only 69 cents a day, you too can adopt a veteran. And Ray Charles Exterminating Company.
I'm not blind, I swear. All right. Well, to follow that, gentlemen, I got a package in the mail this past week. And as you know, it has been a long time a-coming. And I have finally received the Ninja Pillow. The Ninja Pillow is here.
Yeah. I was just talking to someone the other day about this.
Yeah. What were you saying about said Ninja Pillow?
Don't order Ninja Pillows.
So what's your review, Biggun?
Well, here's the story. Well, and I made a small little video, and I'll send this to producer Brian. He can do whatever he wants with it. But I got the package. My wife was like, "What is this?" Because evidently, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but when you're in quarantine, your wife will order a ton of crap from everywhere. I don't know if you know that. She's in the other room, that's why I had to lower it down. But anyway, so we, so every day we're getting packages, and I'm like, what the heck is this? So she gets the package, she looks at it, and throws it inside the house, and she said, "Oh, it's got your name on it. I don't care about it." I don't know what this is. I can't remember. On my app, it still says it's in Wuhan, China. Like, I don't know what this is. So I look at it, and it's got the Chinese markings all over it. Uh-oh. So I threw it back outside. It's like, get out of my house. And then I went out there with the Lysol and sprayed it. Then I wiped it down. Then I cut it with the scissors. Then I wiped the scissors down. Then I took them out of the package, and it was my Ninja Pillows. I was like, finally, since January 13th, I ordered these things. They finally got here. I was like, all right, here we go. I'm excited about my Ninja Pillows. And just to recap, I ordered the Ninja Pillows, in case you don't haven't heard. I ordered these Ninja Pillows off of Facebook Marketplace because, one, I was really tired with our 2 foster kids, Hot Pocket and Small Batch. I was exhausted back in January. I said, I need some sleep. Evidently, this thing could make a 78-year-old man become some type of ninja that runs 1,000 miles a day and swims and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I need that kind of energy. So I ordered said Ninja Pillows January 13th. They arrived today, or this past week, I think, April 27th. Hey, buddy, took a long time. The old man could have gotten in the ocean and swam here by this time, but alas. And so I opened these things up, and again, it says Ninja Pillow. I open up the package and I thought it was going to be, like these mattresses that are shrink wrapped, like the vacuum. What are those? Like Casper mattresses,
like purple
Casper.
Yeah.
Where you open it up and just it expands. They were already expanded. I was like, heck, these are actually made for ninja-sized people. They were tiny little pillows. I was like,
Don't go ninja, nobody don't need ninja.
Exactly. Thank you, producer Brian. And these are tiny little pillows. Now, there was like a little indentation on the side. I was like, well, I'm going to take it upstairs, see if it works. Y'all, I couldn't get comfortable with that thing. But alas, big and thinking ahead, I bought 2 of them. So I stacked one on the other one. And quite honestly, I'm getting some pretty decent sleep out of it. Who knew? You just have to order 2 of them.
Yeah, so when are you doing that marathon?
Well, the good thing is you can use it for toilet paper if it doesn't work out.
It's basically a memory foam with a little divot on the front of it. You don't really need the divot. Should have just brought a memory foam pillow.
How big are they?
I'll measure them, but I'm pretty confident they're no bigger than about 13 inches by about 8 inches, if that.
Face mask.
You could use them for a face mask. That's a solid suggestion there.
So,
well, I mean, I've seen people use water jugs, plastic bags, honeybee keeper outfit with,
Honeybee keeper.
Yeah, and the netting in the front,
you
didn't even
haven't.
have that masked off. Oh, yeah, he just had netting in the front. I guess Corona, the virus is probably...
It's as big as
can't
those
be
pictures
larger
you
than
see
a
on the
golf
news,
ball.
right?
Yeah, right? It looks like a golf ball.
So when's your marathon scheduled? Supposed to make you like a supreme athlete, right?
Listen, if that's the case, then we're looking at a solid 2042. Solid 2042. I can make it.
bionic body.
Buddy, I'm getting a little bit better, but I don't know if it's because of the pillows or, to be fair, I'm just that exhausted that I'm just sleeping through the night.
Let's segue into the, if you're not getting any better or getting any better, how's the SFP Twitter account going?
Oh, a healthy one.
Oh, absolutely. We chose, it was coronavirus. It was carbs or coronavirus. And by the look of my face, that went out the window. So I chose carbs. That probably is it.
That's all right.
I probably just need to eat better. How about that?
Maybe the carbs are actually protecting you from
That's
the
what
wrong.
it is.
I hope not. I'm hoping it's the whiskey that's protecting me from the corona.
Well, evidently Trump said that we can drink bleach, so whiskey is probably good enough for. What are we at? 41% alcohol on this one, so we'll see.
You're going to be squeaky clean.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, mine's 50, so yeah, we're getting there.
All right, so let's do some follow-up. Producer Brian, do you have any updates on Bingo?
Bingo is live.
There
we
it
have
is.
Bingo. We posted it everywhere last Monday.
And Mojo's out.
So that's what he thinks about Bingo.
He's about ready to say Bingo.
Yeah.
I think that's square.
Maybe some of you guys have been playing along. Biggun said if we get a completed bingo sheet, he's going to throw out some hats, or at least a hat to somebody.
Sure.
I think you can go through most of this. I finally made it. I think you can get through most of this in one episode, right?
Absolutely.
Things happen. If you're,
I mean,
maybe.
One of them, I believe, is finishing a bottle of bourbon. And right now, we're getting pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I'd finished a
Pretty
bottle
close.
of bourbon right here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can't see it because I switched this.
You can't see because you
here we go.
switched
Yeah.
over.
I just finished a bottle of bourbon.
We don't have to say how big it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
a bottle.
tiny
I opened it
bottle of
before the
bourbon.
show started, and I finished it. So, and it could have been the
Ready to
bottom,
go.
but you didn't say to start the bottle, to finish the bottle. I'm sure
Yeah.
you have a couple of half-empty bottles laying around.
Well, buddy, let me tell you
did
about this story.
last time I was there.
Now, yeah, right? So now I'm going through trying to clean out some space. So I'm just going through and getting all these little small ones that have, just a shot or two and just getting rid of those.
Just pour them all in one glass and go for it, right?
That's called the infinity bottle. Did you know that?
No.
So bourbon connoisseurs will get some of their finest bourbons and they'll pour like one ounce and they'll just make, or however many ounces they want.
Yeah.
And they just write it down, and they want to make an infinity bottle that they just keep pouring bourbon into it. And then, they may drink some and then put some back in. But the idea is you pass it down generationally and whatever. I don't know if that
sounds too complicated.
Sure. Speaking of complicated, Biggun stock tip of the week. Mojo, have you been looking at any of the stocks, investing in any stocks?
No, just because I can get a better return on my investment investing in me. So.
That actually is 100% true. Can I invest in big blue collar cycle company? Is it company or shop?
Well, funny story here. So we go by blue collar cycle company. I don't know if I want to say this out loud.
Okay.
The guy who filed our LLC has a lisp. So it's Blue Collar Cycles Company LLC. Official paperwork, but yeah, we go by Blue Collar Cycle Company.
Because he couldn't say shop.
No, he didn't know it was shop. But he put an S on the end of cycle. I was like, Blue Collar Cycle. He's like, Blue Collar Cycles. So.
Oh, so it's Cycles.
Was he dictating this and not writing it down? How does that happen?
But it works. So,
Have you talked to our friend Paula Yost at the Country Law Shack for the LLC? All right, so blue collar. I'll change the name to Blue Collar Cycles.
No, it's Blue Collar Cycle is good. So. Yeah.
Hey, I just want to give a quick shout out. There's several people. I started a Facebook watch party for this live stream, and I've got several friends, family who are listening now or watching now. So just want to give them all a shout out and say thank you for tuning into this podcast and like us and let us know. So
yeah. Well,
on behalf of SFP, I would like to apologize to Ryan Ray's family for watching us. So, yeah.
They do not get a $500 donation. All right. So, as has been known, on the show notes, Robinhood app, if you'd like to start dabbling in the stock market, one, I would say just forego the Robinhood app, invest in Blue Collar Cycle Shop. And, it'll probably get a better return on investment. But if you do decide, hey, I want to play with the stock market, because, there's nothing else to do. There's no live sports. So we might as well just, watch the little ticker go up and down. I use the Robinhood app. And at this point, just because there's free commissions, there's no commissions, and it's free trade and all that kind of fun stuff. But there's a link to the Robinhood app on our show notes. You can go there. You get a free stock, I get a free stock. It makes life great. So my big pick, and again, I'm a huge spender on this, so I'll let you know where I'm at. Arcturus Therapeutics Holding. That's my 100% buy right now per 8 analysts that we interviewed. They engages in the research and development of medical applications for the nucleic acid focused technology. That sounds fancy. The firm develops RNA therapeutics, which focuses on the treatment of liver and respiratory diseases. Its pipeline includes Lunar OTC, that's over the counter, and Lunar CF. The company was founded in 2013. Great company. So here's where I'm at on my holdings. I bought 2 stocks of this for $33.09. 2 stocks for $33.09 each. It is now at $34.05. I've made a total of $1.92. Big spender. Ballin'.
Hey,
ballin'.
Wow.
It's better than negative.
It's the truth.
Well, here, look, just for our SFP insiders, I'll show you. Look at all the red though. That's all my negatives.
So my stock tip of the week next week is the Make sure you purchase the Wuhan Rona. Supposedly they're coming up with a cure with the corona.
I will say my pick for nautical, that's still gone up.
I think
So
anything stay at home exercise activity. I think obviously anything we can use like Walmart, Amazon, Target, the companies that have innovated to meet the need right now versus like that in-person shopping experience. I mean, Walmart. We ordered the max amount from Walmart for our food pantry drive, and then dropping it off at the shop for like $7. So companies that are actually out there going and innovating, I think that's great with stock because they've already taken their hit, a big hit 3 weeks after the shutdown. So I think a lot of these companies are poised to make a comeback, the ones who've innovated.
Yeah. All right. So last week, producer Brian, Magic Man, we laughed at the NFL draft because Henry Ruggs III was in a bathrobe, and we yucked it up. We thought it was really funny that they did the NFL draft at the players' homes, and this guy was in a bathrobe, and we yucked it up. Ha ha, look at him. He didn't even get dressed for it. I made the comment, what's next? Somebody's going to come out butt naked. Just be like, hey, look at me. All that kind of fun stuff. Magic Man, you actually sent us an article why that happened. So, do you want to go over it? I've got it here.
You go ahead.
Do you want me to go over it?
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, so we yucked it up. The guy was in a bathrobe. He got picked 12th overall to the Las Vegas Raiders. Henry Ruggs decided he's going to do it in a bathrobe, but it was a sponsorship by Old Spice. You know how Old Spice does the guy in the bathrobe and
on a horse,
all that kind of fun stuff. But it actually was a sponsorship from Old Spice because they wanted to provide money for the United Way. So they were going to give $320,000 to the United Way if he wore the bathrobe, and it was part of one of his friends passed away and wanted something to do for inner city kids. So the United Way was the organization that they chose. So we were yucking it up, and he actually got $320,000.
I read a different article about that, actually.
Oh.
So I'm wondering,
this
might be a fact check. So the article I read said that Old Spice donated that amount of money, $320,000, which is great.
Yep.
But then they paid this guy to wear the robe to bring attention to that. That's what I read.
Ooh.
But maybe, this is how
would they have
sources
done that if he didn't have done that, if he wouldn't have done that?
I think he got paid to wear a bathrobe on the draft, is what I think happened. But I don't want to make light of the donations. Great that he did that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll check our facts a little bit, but
we'll
two different stories, two completely different stories there.
Well, there's that. Well, we'll have to fact check the fact check then. All right. So, producer Brian, you had something come up on Facebook or Instagram, one of these things that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, this is right up our alley. This seems like if there's a thing that we're going to talk about, it's not heavy anyway. We're going to bring it. This is a very controversial subject.
Mm-hmm.
This actually came up from our church. I think the youth were playing this game, and I saw it and went, "Oh, this looks like our kind of thing." So,
okay,
I got this little picture I'm putting up on the screen.
All right.
And the game is you have to pick 3 of these restaurants. You can only have 3, and you get rid of the rest of them. You can only eat these 3, I guess, forever is the premise. You have to pick these three of these 9 restaurants. And if you're listening, like a normal podcast listener, our choices are Taco Bell, Culver's, Chick-fil-A, Burger King, Subway, McDonald's, Arby's, Wendy's, and Panda Express. It's kind of an odd grouping, I would say.
Ooh.
On some levels, but what are your 3?
Okay.
Got to have, or leave the rest behind.
Got them. Okay, I've got my 3. Magic Man, do you have your 3? Mojo,
Yeah.
do you have your 3? Okay.
You can't pick Chick-fil-A 3 times.
That's what I was going to say. You can't pick it 3 times. All right, so Magic Man, you go first.
Okay, I would say 1, 3, and 8.
You're going Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A, and Wendy's. Why are we going that route?
We got to make sure we cover all of our bases as far as the fast food chains are concerned. So you've got your tacos, you've got your chicken, you've got your burgers, and the top of each one.
Okay.
This is the same guy
sense.
who made the weirdest burger known to man a couple weeks ago.
But it would be
That's
good.
100%.
Yeah.
He put scrambled eggs on his burger. No.
It'd be good to somebody.
That is the
It had lots of
worst
protein on
hamburger
it.
known to man.
It was keto friendly.
It did have that.
Yeah.
All right, so there's that. Mojo, why don't you go ahead and go? What's your 3?
Well, the only saving grace for number 6 is, and this is where we probably lose all our listeners. There's actually, you can order a McChicken sandwich, a McDouble, and a fish fillet, and combine those. And it's actually called a McGangbang. So,
do we have to edit that out? It's a family show.
It's on the live stream though.
There you go. So anyway, that's the only saving grace for number 6. But I'm gonna go Culver's because of the home of the Butter Burger.
That is a good
and
burger,
they have cheese
man.
curds. Chick-fil-A. I mean,
true.
come on. I mean, if you don't if you don't pick Jesus Chicken, I don't want to be a friend with you. And then number 8. Number 8 is you got the Baconator.
Number 8.
I don't know. The quality of their burgers is just above all the other ones, in my opinion.
But the good thing, I think the best thing about number 1, the saving grace for number 1, Taco Bell, is to actually give you a bag to poop in after, it upsets your stomach.
That's
so
true. Note to self, though, they all have bags.
Well, I think Panda Express comes in a styrofoam box, so that might be a little awkward.
Be a little more sterile, though.
I mean, that's in a bag.
But if you order enough of it, there's a bag.
True.
Right.
It is true. Can you put the graphic back up there? All right. Yep. So, Producer Ron, you said you had a controversial pick.
I do.
So
have
I'm thinking I may need to leave you to the end.
Yeah, that's fine. I can go last.
Okay. For me, clearly, number 3, Chick-fil-A. I'm going number 9, the Panda Express. I love me some Panda Express. Whenever my wife is in Huntersville, I say, pick up some Panda Express and bring it home. And then I'm going to go with number 8, Wendy's. And I'll tell you why. Their breakfast is pretty dang good. So if I have to eat this thing, and these are the only 3 things I can get,
right?
I'm getting Wendy's breakfast. Chick-fil-A breakfast is horrible. Panda Express doesn't have any breakfast. But if I have to have a breakfast, I'm going to number 8.
All right, so
you're not getting the Crunch Wrap Supreme from Taco Bell?
I can give it up for Wendy's. They have a fantastic honey butter chicken biscuit.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
What's on this Wendy's breakfast? I have not been to it yet.
Well, that's a good question you asked, Mojo. You've got the honey butter biscuit, the honey butter chicken biscuit. You've got a maple, which is just, again, honey butter and chicken, fried chicken on a biscuit. It's pretty decent. You've got a maple bacon croissant, chicken maple bacon croissant, bacon, chicken, a maple butter, and a croissant. If you want to be healthy, you can go an oatmeal bar. I don't know why you would, but there's that. And then they have different, like McMuffin type things. I don't want McMuffins at McDonald's, but it has like what are those?
English muffin?
English muffins. So they have those type of things. And then oatmeal and some other things. They're also, key point, they've got home seasoned fries that are really good. The home style fries. Good.
I don't know why these companies I think Starbucks is probably one of the first ones that came out with this like oatmeal to go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, producer Ryan, you like it?
Yeah, but I'm not saying it's
I've
not
had a lot
good.
of it,
I've never
actually.
had it, but how much does that cost?
It's oatmeal.
It's $3
$16.
$4,
Yeah, I mean,
$4,
yeah.
I think. But it's got like nuts in it, like real nuts and dried fruit and stuff. It's
You
it's
probably,
pretty
but you
decent.
probably.
It's better than your pack from Quaker, you
Yeah,
know.
Oh man, I guess you can't hide money if you buy Starbucks oatmeal.
I used to work at Starbucks.
Did you really?
To be clear.
Were you a
So,
barista?
Really?
Yes, I was a barista many years ago.
Learn something new every day. That's pretty cool.
So, yeah,
Did not know that.
So I've been indoctrinated into the Church of Starbucks. Just saying.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think that it tastes burnt?
No, I don't.
That's the reason why they call it
Tastes just
Starburnt.
fine.
Does anybody else, Magic Man? Do you?
I'm not a
you think
big
it's
coffee
burnt?
drinker, but I've had hot chocolate from there, and it does taste very, very burnt to me.
The hot chocolate's like all vanilla and
whatever it is,
sugar.
it's burnt. It feels like it tastes like it's been sitting on the burner for a while.
Okay.
You know who makes a good
Well,
cup of hot
Mojo.
chocolate is
You picked
is,
Taco Bell. You
Caribou
probably like their coffee.
which I don't think they're around anymore. They may be in a couple places, but they're not around like they used to be. They made some good. Sorry, Brian. I know.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I get it. It's an acquired
True.
taste.
Very true.
Mojo, do you think it's burnt?
So if I was a betting man, I would bet Magic Man would be the one who get hot chocolate at a coffee joint.
I made that too easy on you.
Can I get a hot chocolate and a
He's also
spiced
getting
apple oatmeal?
The oatmeal.
He's getting the chicken tenders at
And
Panda
don't forget,
Express.
I need the egg on it too. So you know.
Mm-hmm.
And ketchup.
Oh Lord. Yeah, you made a good point that we will not reference Magic Man for anything that we need a valid taste test on. So there's that.
What dipping sauce would you like,
All
Mr. Ray? I'll take some mayonnaise.
You realize this is for your mashed potatoes, right? Oh yeah, absolutely.
You realize this is for your cinnamon apple oatmeal. Oh yeah, I'm good.
Mayonnaise.
Hey,
Oh,
that's a
Lord.
bingo square. Biggun loses it.
Oh yeah, there we go. And we're out. Bingo. All right, so what's your
All
controversial?
right, so here's my controversial pick. I'm going with McDonald's for their breakfast because their biscuits are better than any of the other biscuits I've had. I've had Wendy's, to be clear.
That's the problem.
I've had a Wendy's. Arby's, because I like most of the things on the Arby's menu. Chamocha shake. Anybody?
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, they've got roast beef. They got fish. They have
Potato cakes.
chicken. Lots of variety. They have curly fries.
That
Who else
is
has
true.
curly fries? Their curly fries are fantastic.
Mm.
I love curly fries. If it's battered, deep fried. Come on, man. And then Wendy's. So controversy is the absence of a certain pick. Because I can live without Chick-fil-A. That's the truth.
Well,
What's missing from this list is Bojangles, which hasn't been said yet. But
I don't think there's been a time in my life where I've ever been so disappointed in somebody.
yeah,
I really don't. Like my 9-year-old will lie to my face after I've seen him say or do something, and I said, "Did you do this?" And he said, "Absolutely not. I didn't do it." I've never been. So
I was less
disappointed.
disappointed when my accountant told me I was getting a $4,000 tax return. I ended up getting an IOU for $4,000.
Well, let's be clear. You haven't been more disappointed since your LLC guy did blue collar
Blue
cycles.
collar cycles.
Lisp your name.
Oh goodness. Well, how about that? So you're going. Bring that up again. I didn't.
all right,
Going
one second.
Arby's, which I would kind of agree with. Arby's as a plethora of options.
You know, my hold on, I gotta find my screen again.
I'm sorry.
All right. So yeah, so I'm thinking taking the 3 meal a day approach.
Okay.
Breakfast at
yeah.
McDonald's because they have gravy too. Just saying.
Do they really though?
Yeah, they do. I've had it. They have pancakes. They have the big breakfast. Yeah, Arby's would be my dinner choice probably because they have a few
Okay.
more meat choices. And then Wendy's, I like their burgers, Baconator.
All right.
All
So
their
nobody
fries, you get
picked.
chili. Yeah.
nobody picked Burger King, so that's off the map. What if we replaced Bojangles with Burger King? Would that change anybody's?
Yeah, well, I'd go Bojangles, Arby's, Wendy's, probably.
I go Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A, and Bojangles.
The problem is you've got, if you're going to pick Chick-fil-A, then Bojangles is also the chicken place. So there's a problem.
Pick your chicken, man.
I bet you would choose. I bet you would choose Dunkin' over Krispy Kreme, wouldn't you? I just know it.
For me, no. It's Krispy Kreme over Dunkin' all day, any day. Sorry.
I made the mistake of going by the Dunkin' Donuts the other day.
I have a Krispy Kreme less than a half mile from my shop, and I'd hate to tell you how many Krispy Kreme donut points I have on my card right now. I use a dozen for bribery. I'd use a dozen donuts for bribery at the DMV all the time. Yeah.
That's genius right there.
It is genius.
Mojo with the life hacks today.
Hook, Line, and Heroes is a 501c3 nonprofit based in Charlotte, North Carolina, founded in 2017 to show God's love and appreciation for our disabled and PTS military veterans. They provide professionally guided fishing trips to nominated veterans at no cost to the veteran. Hook, Line, and Heroes has provided over 30-plus trips around the Carolinas since their founding, from red fishing down in Charleston to striper fishing on Lake Norman, and even offshore fishing down in Florida. Each trip is a one-on-one experience with a member of the organization, aiming to provide a day of fun and relaxation on the water and begin a lifelong relationship with them. Each veteran leaves the day with a fully stocked tackle box, rod and reel, apparel, a Bible, and a daily devotion to kickstart their new hobby and build their relationship with God. Please take the time to visit their website at hooklineandheroes.org to hear and learn more about them. You can help in many ways by nominating a veteran you know through their website, join their monthly giving program, Healing Heroes, or send a one-time personal or corporate donation. You'll also be happy to hear that they are completely volunteer-run, and nearly 100% of your donations goes directly towards providing trips for the veterans. Be sure to follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to see their veteran stories and to show your support.
All right, so let's go to our special guest, Marlene Childers. Can I give her the nod? Go ahead and bring her in, Producer Brian. Tell us about Marlene.
All right, so I'm going to bring in my lovely wife, Mrs. Producer Brian.
Marlene. Hey, Miss Producer Brian.
Hey, Mrs. Producer Brian.
She opted to not be on the cameras tonight, so we have a stock photo.
There you go.
Put up there for those on Facebook Live and YouTube. Teacher for 10 years now?
13.
13.
I know.
Wow. I can't do math. That's been established.
We've been married for 4 years? No, we've been married for 10.
Yeah.
I don't even know the answer to that.
Yeah,
one
there's a calculator.
We got to count that one out.
We got to figure it out with the calendar. So
carry the one.
Yeah. With, there's some stuff going on. Schools are out forever, right? So we thought we'd bring her in and get some teacher opinions, maybe not her real opinions, but she can talk about the teacher perspective with these schools being closed for eternity until 2023. What they said, I think, right?
Just for fun, go ahead and run that disclaimer for us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is just for her.
The views and opinions of Southern Fried Philosophy are not necessarily those of our guests, sponsors, or friends of the show, but they should be.
Or employers. Okay. All right.
Right. Sure.
So first of all, I want to know how homeschool's going.
You want me to be honest with you?
Yeah.
It is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. I think Producer Brian blamed this entire coronavirus on Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL this year. I'm blaming the teacher union. I think that they've put this up to us, that they've released it, and they want the parents to realize just how horrible it is to be a teacher so they can get a raise. And
is it working?
Pay it. Yeah, sure,
okay.
100%.
Just trying to gauge the crowd here.
I will pay you whatever you want to come back to work right now.
There are some pretty fabulous memes out there for homeschooling / teacher world. My favorite are all the ones that say, do you still think that we're lying about your child?
Mm. And here's what's interesting, though, Marlene, is the teachers have said that my kid has been great.
That's awesome.
No, I'm not going to reveal much information because there's state stuff, that we gotta involve in. But hey, buddy, I think he's sliding under some type of like radar that nobody knows about.
Okay, so I will say our standards are not that high right now. I'm not trying to say that in a mean way.
Sure.
If your kid is trying something, we're pumped. Because I had like 3 kids submit anything last week.
Wait, out of how many children do you have?
20.
20.
I'm sitting at a less than 20%. Do anything. Do anything. And let me know what you did. And that'd be awesome. There's lots of reasons. I know I have a couple kids who are babysitting during the day. They have little siblings and their parents have to work. And so there are like life things happening as well. And the reality is the teachers know that. Because the teachers are also trying to homeschool our kids, right? So the teachers know that. And so it's not, we're with you. We're trying to do everything we can to help you guys. But a lot of the stuff that like we're putting out is we have to prove that we're doing work so that we can keep getting paid as workers as well. So
what grade do you teach?
I teach 3rd. So big news in 3rd grade is there's no EOG this year. So in 3rd graders, they usually take their first end of grade test. There's no end of grade test because we're not going to be at school. So now they get a beginning of 4th grade test.
Oh.
Supposedly.
So the end of grade test would say, are they ready to move to the 4th grade?
Correct.
And now it's going to be, are you really ready to begin the 4th grade?
I mean, it's going to be, where are you starting 4th grade?
Ooh.
Where are you starting? So the state has said that 3rd grade is typically, they used to call it a gateway year. And so they would have to pass the test or show that they've been on grade level in some way to be able to be promoted. So the state has said if there is not significant proceedings already before we went out, then you're promoted. Like, you don't have to meet those same benchmarks that they have in the past unless the school has already said, hey, we have some serious concerns about your child going to 4th grade. But that would have had to have happened already. So
there is a possibility that they say you haven't met the requirements, you're not going to 4th grade for next year at this point.
It sounds like to me, and let me just say that the teachers are finding out everything on the news, just like the parents are.
Really?
I've been trying to listen to the State Board of Ed meetings, but so much is dependent on the legislature, and like the school districts don't have a ton of power on their own. And even the State Board of Ed, they have to get permission from the legislature to do all this decision making. But yeah, we're just all watching the news at the same time, and we're not getting any information before anybody else in the public is. But from my understanding, what they said was, unless there were, like, it had already been communicated that your child is probably going to be retained, then everybody's kind of starting on the same level, moving on to the next grade level.
So is this a breakdown of complete communication between the Board of Education and teachers, and how do they fix that, or will they fix that?
It's not really a breakdown. It's just that the fact that the legislature is only in session at certain times. And so they didn't go back until April 28th. And so the state board had all these things laid out, like, here are all the things that we need you to approve that we don't have the authority to do.
Wow.
And, like, please sign them. And so they, just the other day, whatever day the 28th was, because nobody knows what day it is anymore.
You're right.
I believe that was Tuesday.
Maybe. Whatever day that was. The Senate
right.
put their bill forward, and the House put their bill forward, and now they're going to, work out all the details. But
how is this going to impact the kids going forward? Like, do you think this whole coronavirus thing?
So the reality is, school cannot look the same, because it is not possible to social distance in the school system. Here's why I say that. I am in a trailer. I'm sorry, a learning cottage.
Mobile learning cottage.
Mobile learning college. Sorry.
You Frodo Baggins?
So, I have 20 kids, and I am lucky because my class, because I'm in third grade, is legally capped out at 20 kids. Okay. So there
because
are.
Because of the trailer? Is that why?
No, because of the class size for younger kids and learning to read. It has to do with their age, not their size or anything like that. But starting in fourth grade, there are mobile learning cottages all over the state that have 35, 40 kids in them all the time. And let me tell you that there is no space in my classroom. And so it is not possible. Like my guess, I'm really bad with spatial type things, but my guess is I could not get more than 8 kids 6 feet apart from each other in my trailer. So they're looking at a couple different options. The state superintendent has formed this task force. Is in the news today. They made a task force with what does school need to look like in the fall. And so they're throwing around a couple of options. They said like maybe A day, B day, like your kid goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week and Tuesday, Thursday next week. They said maybe some groups go in the morning and the other ones go in the afternoon. A school district in Florida, get them out of my house.
Biggun says no.
So there's somewhere in Florida I read they were looking at like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off because that's the 14-day quarantine period, right? So, but like, how does that work from the parent perspective? You need childcare whenever your child is not in school. Like, what does that look like for people? Also, if you have the same number of kids in the room during the day, there's still, you know what I mean? Like right now, the North Carolina is under less than 10. And not that we will be necessarily in August, but there's 20 kids a day. And then there's things like what happens I shouldn't even say when somebody gets sick, right? Because it's going to like, even if it's just a cold, you have to stay home with your symptoms. Mm-hmm. So we can barely get substitutes now. Like half the time we don't get subs and the kids get split. And so now you're taking 4 kids from every class and sending them to all the other classes. And then do I have to stay home for 2 weeks? Does my class have to stay home for 2 weeks? Does everybody who rode the bus with the kid who got sick have to stay home for 2 weeks? The bus limit for my school has about 1,000 kids who go there. There's 3 kids to a seat on half of the buses. So there's like 72 kids on the buses. So what does that look like? What does that look like during this time where like there's no way to keep them separated? Does that make sense? Like
sure.
It's not physically possible. Even if you look at, like I have my own class all day, so it's not like we're switching, but high schools, they're talking about, well, you're going to have to be with the same group of kids all day. So the teachers might switch. Like your teacher would move classrooms to go to math, to go to English or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then what about the kids who get pulled out for different services? If you get pulled out for the gifted program, or if you get pulled out for some remediation, or you get pulled out for English as a second language, you're mixing with kids from all the other classes.
Right.
In any way, shape, or form. So, I mean, that's really the biggest things is school can't look the same if we are supposed to be socially distancing. And then there's all those what ifs for the parent side. Like, what if your kid's class gets quarantined and you're back to work? What if the teacher's out for 2 weeks and there's no sub? And then do the parents get to decide? Like, what if you are an immunocompromised person and you don't want your kid at school? Or if your kid is an immunocompromised person?
Biggun's having a fit. I'm not sure.
I know. I'm going to need to give him a moment, maybe. Like, do the parents get to decide if your kid has to go? Like, if you're on an A day, B day, do you get to decide, I want my kid to do remote learning all the time because of health concerns? Or does the state get to say, no, your child has to go to school?
But let me even back up. So a couple of things. One, if you have questions for Marlene, that's a teacher, and you're in the chat, Facebook Live, whatever, go ahead and ask those questions in the chat, and we'll get to them. But let me even back up. So, and Mojo, chime in when you feel like it. So we're not thinking that this whole thing is going to be over and that we'll just go back to quote unquote regular school in August. So now we're planning different scenarios.
They are planning in case we can't. And it seems like most people have said they don't think it's going to be likely that we can by August. So they don't want to be caught off guard. So they're trying to prep all of these different possible scenarios.
Mojo, your thoughts on...
I don't know if I want to get kicked off my own show here. No.
And here's the thing, too, I want to say, like, I'm really glad I don't have to be the one making these decisions.
I don't think
right?
so.
Because how can, like, I get that people need to go back to work. Like, everybody needs to be able to work. And what do you do with your kids during that time? So, it's just a crazy whole thing.
All right. So I had this conversation a little earlier today with a friend of mine. There's other countries out there doing things right now that we've taken one approach. Other countries have taken the opposite approach. As a society, there's a thing called herd immunity, and we practice that through vaccinations in this country. But we have taken the other end of the spectrum with this virus going around due to politics, et cetera, et cetera. I think if you're looking school, this is such a interesting time with school because we're talking about kids all the way from kindergarten through college right now. I think it's a unique time right now to reevaluate the education system as a whole, K through 2. And here in the States, K through 2, and then, 3rd through 5th, and then middle school, and then high school. I wonder, the AB days. I wonder how much can actually be learned online. But then again, we go back to the responsibility of parents actually having to parent their kids and actually school their kids. Do we trust them to do that? Because, then we'll hear statistics of there's certain demographic groups where the kids aren't learning, so they're falling behind, and certain kids are super excelling because other parents are actually taking an active part in listening or learning. Is a virtual college degree is the same as going and spending $60,000 to stay on campus and eat horrible food all year? I mean, these are the interesting conversations we'll have here in the future. But I think there's one thing we've learned is that Corona may go away, but I don't think the opportunity to reshape society with a pandemic will. I think that we'll always have this now in one form or fashion. I'm not saying do away with the schools. I'm not saying that. It'd be an interesting way to see if we can shape it somehow to benefit all of us. I don't know if that. I don't know. Like I said, like Marlon said, I would not want to be the person in charge of making decisions right now. I'm talking about from the president all the way down to the governor, to the county clerk, to the superintendent, whatever it may be, because the decisions you're making now could have impact for the next generation. But it'd be interesting to see other global models out there for education of kids right now to see if there's anything that's more effective with schooling and education versus what we're doing right now in the temporary.
Something that I was just thinking about, kind of based off what you were just saying there, Mojo. If this had occurred back in the 50s, 60s, I don't think it would be too hard, because back then you only had like one parent working and the other one staying home taking care of the kids. So the kids would be able to hopefully be taught somewhat. And then, 70s, 80s, 90s, that dynamic changed. So therefore you don't have both parents able to stay, or one parent able to stay home and pick up the slack from, I wouldn't say slack, they pick up the Yeah, I'm trying to choose my words here because I know it's not slang. Our teachers work very hard.
Careful.
Yeah, I know exactly. But
no, I wasn't offended by that. I was thinking more of the parent part.
Yeah, but back then, you had, like I said, one parent. They could teach the kids while they're out, and like now, because they were home anyways, etc. Now, with both parents working, it makes it more difficult because, and really, you were talking about a shift in the way we do things because of a pandemic. That we did have kind of a shift over. Of course, it was a longer period of time, over a period of a few decades, with one parent staying home to both parents going to work, and therefore it makes it a lot more difficult for parents being able to take care of their kids right now, because in most cases both parents have to work just to make ends meet, whereas 50, 60 years ago that wasn't the case.
Sure. But
the other thing about thinking about that end is the idea of who is able to access virtual education,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I read something in I think it was the paper the other day. The estimate is that 300,000 families in North Carolina do not have either reliable broadband or broadband. So when you look at the idea of virtual learning for the counties that are more rural, that are farther out in the mountains, that's not even an option. And so in Charlotte, the district has done a good job about trying to make sure that everybody has hotspots, and a lot of foundations and organizations have stepped up and said, hey, we're going to give free Wi-Fi for 60 days, or we're going to pass out these hotspots and all those kinds of things. That's not even an option in a lot of counties that these orders are affecting. And so the schools are having to do things like print packets. And so the kids are just sitting, and Charlotte is too. Charlotte's doing packets for the younger kids to try to limit their screen time, because everybody knows that all the kids are doing a little bit of extra screen time these days. Just a little bit, How many times did we extend our child's iPad today? Okay, anyways.
Once.
Once to watch the NFL draft. So
But yeah, I mean, a lot of times those things are not even accessible to those families. And then when you start thinking about the kids who don't learn from packets, you talk about like a school that I used to work at, they were all language learners, but their second language their first language wasn't Spanish, it was Nepali or Burmese or Karenni. And so their parents aren't even able to help them with what's in the packet, because there's nobody translating all the packets into the 35 different languages that are represented in this city. Same thing with kids who have some severe learning difficulties. A lot of the kids have IEP goals that are social. And so it's the social interactions that those kids, that's what the school is providing their learning in. And so how do you do that with a packet or with a computer if you're lucky enough to have one?
And just to run the numbers, there's 10 million kids.
10,000, 10 million.
10.
How many zeros?
That's
Count the zeros.
I forgot. I think you forgot to carry the 2.
6 zeros.
Are you trying to do Common Core math?
Yep. There's 1 million kids in North Carolina. All right, so that changes things just a little bit.
That's it? There's only 1 million?
It says 1 million children in North Carolina.
Oh. What ages? What's children? What's the
that's
definition there?
Well, now I just backed out of Google.
Right.
Now things are going to get crazy. But if you have 1 million and then 300,000, I mean, that's 33%? 30%?
Yeah, it's a pretty high number.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and I know my kid will not concentrate on packets, much less, I guess let me back up the question is how effective are these virtual sessions? Does the state board feel like that these virtual sessions are actually being effective?
I don't think there's really any way to tell that right now. And I think it depends on the family. Some kids, I know some kids are able, if their parents are working from home, they're handing in stuff and everything's 100% right. So I know that they're being able, they're being helped, by somebody sitting next to them and saying, no, this is how you do this one. This is how you do this one. This is how you do this one.
So if Johnny was going at a solid 60%, getting D's, and now all of a sudden he's making A's, mama's helping with it.
And that's great. That's great that somebody's sitting with you, hopefully not doing it for you, but hopefully teaching you how to do it and showing you where you made a mistake so you don't make that mistake next time. Some kids work well in that world. Like, I'm a person who's like that. I would much rather kind of watch a video and do my own thing than go have a discussion about it. That's who I am as a learner. But other people, like you said, like, it's not really engaging. Our daughter's not loving it. She thrives on the social interaction part. So when she has to sit and watch a video and then do this page and packet, it's a struggle to get her to buy in.
Hot Pocket is, and Mojo, you might find this fascinating. He loves changing his background to a rapper. I don't know why that's the case, but he thinks that's the funniest thing that he's got going on. And so he goes to these virtual sessions. It's like, look at me, I'm the man. With BY Mellon in the background.
Can you please show me how to change my backgrounds? Because I still haven't figured it out.
Yeah, 100%. I'll set up a Zoom for you guys so that you can do that. I think this is important to look at the productivity of the students, but then also look at the productivity of the parents. Because I know for me, it's really, really tough to focus when he's yelling at me to look at the latest YouTube video of Dude Perfect. Like, look at me, and I'm like in a conference call. So I think
you only have one kid who's in school, and so like we have families who have 3 or 4 kids, and then they might only have one device. And so if your Zoom is scheduled at the same time as your brother's Zoom, who gets to go this day, and how do you help? Right now our district is saying there should be 2 hours per kid in K-5. And then I think it increases to 2 hours per class once you get to middle school. But we have friends who have a 6th grader, a 3rd grader, and a kindergartner. So that's like 9 hours a day.
Yeah.
And they can't do it. They can't do it all by themselves, especially the little ones. They don't know how to sign. Well, our daughter's getting pretty good at what number do I have to type in now for Zoom? But I mean, that's a thing about it too, is the number of people in your family who have to get stuff done.
I'm going to go to Magic Man. Do we have any questions in the chat?
No, nothing so far.
I hope not, because I don't know any answers.
Yeah,
I literally just watch the news like everybody else does.
Also, and then Mojo, if you want to start formulating a question, I will say the fact. So right now you've got 20 kids. 3 of them are turning in work.
It's possible that they are doing work and not sending it to me. That's what I'm really hoping. I'm really hoping. I had a bunch of kids on. We have an app where we can see their Chromebook screens if they're using the school Chromebooks.
Oh, wow.
So if anybody signed out a school Chromebook, your teacher can probably see what you're doing on it. Just FYI.
So mom and dad stay off
there.
there.
I got a question about these Chromebooks. Are they not available statewide?
No. I know in our district, 3rd grade and up, I believe, is 1-to-1. Some schools have bought 1-to-1 for 2nd graders, depending on how much money, or if you have a school that even has a PTA. Some schools are 1-to-1 for however many people they want to have devices for. But I don't think that's level. It's district level spending. It's not a state.
I just fiscally, it would seem like statewide, and this goes probably for all states, is that especially with the reduction in costs going out right now, just simply utilities, you'd be able to reinvest that back into buying Chromebooks for every student. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not sure exactly how the funding works. But I know that technology funding a lot of times comes from a different pot of money. Yes, than the other expenses.
Unfortunately, when you have government-run budgets, they don't use it like a common household would. Like, for example,
right? You can't pull from the different buckets.
You have $1,000 coming in every week, and you got to spend X amount of dollars on groceries and the rest of the things. But it would be interesting to see how if schools actually had to be, or districts had to be actually fiscally responsible, that they could actually reshift and reallocate certain funds that would normally go to a certain line item expenditure. Like, all right, we're going to spend, $2,600 this month heating and cooling the school. Now we can buy 26 Chromebooks. You know what I'm saying? It would be just interesting because, I mean, obviously the facilities aren't being used right now. They could actually tool up to make sure they have adequate inventory to just in case a fall doesn't happen. So I don't.
Yeah, and I think the bottom line is they're preparing for the worst and kind of hoping for the best and trying not to get caught off guard.
I think, like you said though in the beginning of this, I think school is going to look different regardless if everyone starts in the beginning of fall, in the summer, beginning of fall, or they don't until 2021. I think school is going to be different with social distancing practice to maybe learning apertures to just I think the whole cumulative experience is going to be totally different now, I would imagine.
The biggest thing that we're seeing a lot of pushback with is the grading policy that has come out. And so basically the State Board of Ed has said that seniors are good to go if they were good to go on March 13th. In the high school, they can choose whether they want a numeric grade to count towards their GPA, or they can just take you can just take a pass for this semester, or you can withdraw for this semester, depending on, and then they're saying that older kids can say, well, I want to make up the work to give me a better number grade. Like if you weren't doing so hot in March and you want to make up that work now, they can. But in K through 5 especially, there are no letter grades. And so there isn't a big accountability piece at the moment, which may be why a lot of kids and parents are checked out, because we are having to provide feedback. And so when my kids submit work, I'm telling them how they can make it better, what they need to do, how many, like for math, like right now we're doing measurement. And so, no, that doesn't actually weigh 15 pounds. That actually weighs like a half an ounce, whatever. But there's not really a true accountability piece. And so what we're saying is, yes, you're going on to the next grade level. Almost pretty much everybody is going on to the next grade level. And so you're going to pass this year, but next year is going to be really, really hard if you don't do any work from now until the end of the year, because there are kids who are doing the work. And so not only are you going to be behind them, but you're expected to know the things that we're giving you now.
Yeah, and you have parents asking, what do they have to do?
Oh, yeah.
And they're not thinking about what they should be doing to stay on top, so they're not struggling because they haven't had real instruction for 5 months when they hit August or September.
Maybe everybody just get an asterisk like Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire and Derek
everybody's
Jeter.
in survival mode at this point. Everybody's in survival mode. And so there are a lot of life things happening in a lot of families. And so the teachers realize that, but then there are also cases where I watched you watch YouTube for like 4 hours today. So you could have been doing literally anything else.
You could have been working.
You could have been doing all kinds of learning during this time. Don't tell me you didn't have time to do it, because I'm watching you click on different YouTube videos to watch Minecraft instructionals. So.
So this is just for my own personal thing, and Mojo, I saw your message. So 3 out of 20 of your kids are actually turning in work. Just for my own personal selfish ambition. So my kid is turning in work, is showing up on the Zoom videos and doing all the things. At this point, I'm doing better than 17 other families. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
You're killing it.
I'm crushing it right now. Mojo, do you have any questions before you need to head out? Because I know you don't have much battery left. I don't know why you don't.
I think this is just an interesting discussion. I think this is an interesting discussion, just because I was kind of curious to see what Marlene. We may differ on a few ideological things, but it's interesting to see what the discussion is right now at the state level, every state. I think
No,
I'm trying to formulate the thoughts without having to have verbal diarrhea, then having to go back and retract stuff. We supposedly allegedly have standards, but we can't meet those standards due to 3 kids turning in homework. But we're pushing them to the next grade. But quote unquote, it's going to be extra hard next year, and I'm sure. But are we constantly playing catch up? Or we're going to be? Is the class of 2020 for every grade? Is it going to always be playing catch up for every year until they graduate out? How does the teachers ramp up for that on the next cycle to play catch up? Is every teacher now going to have to go and say, if school theoretically start on August 1st, are we now going to have to be teaching the first half of the previous year just to even get kids acclimated to get caught up to the current grade they need to be in?
For sure. I mean, and the earliest date that I've seen that they are saying that they're going to start is August 17th, which is really only about a week before we normally start. If you're on the traditional
what I'm saying is we're trying to, how long. So basically, lack of
everybody's going to be behind.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you.
Well, no, I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of kids are going to be behind.
I just out of your metrics, 3 out of 20. I mean, we're you got to.
Those 3 out of 20 were. But
let's just say 80% of the class is behind. Let's just say 80% of the class is behind. So
my class might not be the best
model
for this analogy.
There's probably a good indicator.
Maybe go 50-50.
Look, I have an elementary school kid and I have a high school kid. My elementary school kid's crushing it. My high school kid is, out there, more worried about TikTok and Instagram than anything else.
To be fair, that hasn't changed any.
It's just the virus. What I don't understand is that if you have 80% of the class trying to cram in 3 months worth of classwork to catch up in the month of August, in September, where does that put them at in 2021? That's if everything goes great, yes.
And we can get back.
If Adolf Governor Cooper decides that he wants to shut down the state until the rest of 2023, we're all screwed anyway. And but I mean, where are we at? The
biggest thing to remember with this kind of thing is that the whole country, most of the country, is in the same boat. And so a lot of, we're dealing with, everybody keeps saying, we have this running gag about the word unprecedented. We have to take a shot every time somebody uses the word unprecedented. Game. But it really is, it's something we haven't had to deal with before. I've seen a couple of things going around, and it's Facebook, so, it's on the internet. I'm sure it's 100% true, but about the people who post Katrina, they're talking about the kids miss so much school. And even in North Carolina, a lot of the kids on the coast missed a significant amount of school this year and last year for hurricane-related things. But everybody's kind of in the same ball game here, and so I think the bell curve kind of adjusts with it. You're still going to have kids who are doing every single thing that they should have. And you had kids who weren't doing that in the first place when they were sitting in the chairs in school. So I think that the whole kind of curve will move along because we're all in the same boat.
The real solution here is to make it as easy as it was when I was a kid. Because the stuff that these kids are doing is like what I was doing in high school. If they just dial the bar back about 60% here.
Yeah, but
there you go.
They did a study that the third grade end of grade test is the same, they call it Lexile levels, which is a text difficulty level. The current third grade test is the 7th grade level test from 12 years ago. Yeah, but
let's be honest with you. I don't use much of the things I've learned in school in the business I'm in now. I mean, I've never had to break out a French sentence. I've never had to whoop out some trigonometry. I've never.
Well, how about you?
No, I'm kind of placating the point, but I
don't think any architects are saying
that. But that's a specialized field.
graduate 8th grade. And
exactly.
Get arrested in college.
No, I just, I don't know. It's just it's an interesting time. It's unprecedented.
Oh,
Drake, bottoms up.
You did it.
That,
Billing stuff.
Son of a gun.
You're going to see that all the time
Absolutely.
now, and you're going to be like, oh, man.
very unprecedented.
So unprecedented.
I'm running out.
No, but
So
I don't know. It's just it's an interesting time to reevaluate how we do school. I mean,
a lot of teachers would agree with you.
From
There's not too many teachers making educational policy decisions these days.
sure,
but
no,
but you guys should be the loudest voices in the auditorium. I mean, you guys have been a lot of the loudest voices out there with when we had especially North Carolina, when you were on the show the previous time with the vote red or whatever for teacher pay. I mean, you guys need to be the loudest voices out there.
We might be loud, but nobody's doing anything about what we say.
I think but politically, this is probably your time to shine. You know, with
that's true.
The sad thing is, another point that you said earlier was, parents actually take school as a childcare, thing.
Yeah.
How many kids actually, the only time they actually eat lunch is when they go to school?
I was going to say something about earlier when you were talking about the money, the different money pots or whatever, and I said everybody's money would be going towards the nutrition services at the moment. Because they're feeding so many kids. That breaks my heart.
And I don't want to sound like the coolest, the callous, and I think you can probably mark that off on the bingo board.
There we go. That's on the bingo.
On the show. But being a parent is a cognitive decision and a choice. And you shouldn't have to make the state feed and house and babysit your kids due to decision. So that's one of the things that infuriates me a lot of times, because it took a lot for us to become a family. And when people actually depend on the state to feed and to make sure they have daycare, that's not the wisest decisions that adults can make. Now that doesn't loop everybody, just because that life does happen and decisions made sometimes. But
I will say that I have worked in several schools in Charlotte, and I'm in more on the suburb side now. But in schools where 99% of the kids have qualified for free and reduced lunch, most people. And I say most people are doing the very best they can, and I haven't met a lot of people who are like cognitively saying, oh, I don't really care about education. I just need somebody, you know what I mean? Like they don't, even with their actions, like, yes, there are families that need that, but most people want their kids to have a better life. They want them to have a better shot. And sometimes that's the only choice they have. So.
I'm not disputing that. But just how we look, how we take when we take our metrics for our schools, we can't let that 19 kids pass. We always have to be concerned about that one person left behind, and that's where the No Child Left Behind policy has come into class, and that's how re-educations be tooled and stuff like that. So,
maybe we should reconstitute that to be no child left behind except Frank, because nobody really can depend on Frank.
Especially guys who use dipping sauce as mayonnaise.
Yeah, that's true. There you go, Magic Man.
Producer Brian back the carp in the parking spaces, right?
That's very unprecedented.
Ooh, shots fired. Shots fired. Oh, no.
Unprecedented.
All right, so guys, also if you're following on the SFP bingo, finished a bottle of bourbon. So we realized that we've got an issue with the kids coming out of high school. So we're saying at this point, millennials are going to be our future, and we've got to depend on them.
My favorite meme is the one that talks about how in 20 years we're going to be dependent on a society of kids who are homeschooled by day drinkers.
Absolutely.
There's going to be a time in the future when an asteroid's about to hit the planet, and there's going to be one math equation that the kid didn't finish in the last 3 months of the school year for 2020.
Change the trajectory.
Exactly. Yeah, there's going to be something.
All I can say is Jesus, please come back. We really need you, buddy. All right. So here's the deal. So if you have any questions, if you're listening via podcast to Marlene or just a teacher or whatever, please shoot them over to sfpradio@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you, and we'll get you Marlene's thoughts on that. Anything else you want to add?
No, I do. I personally, for me, I want to add, I do appreciate the teachers, because I know this is something that they didn't go to school to learn about. I mean, this is obviously unprecedented. So, yeah.
I ran out of my drink.
But
welcome.
No, seriously. I mean, we're all just kind of flying by the seat of our pants, and
yep.
I am very impressed with the state or our surrounding. I guess probably the state with how quickly we adapted to the situation with the materials we had. It may not be perfect at all, but at least we have something. It may not. Yeah. It may be in a dirty Taco Bell bag, but it's something. Obviously the next pandemic in 2028, we might be a little better suited, but sure. But at least we have something. And
so you just equated Marlene's job as a dirty Taco Bell job.
No, I'm talking about the situation. They were handed a crap stained Taco Bell bag out of a bag.
Handed a bag full of bean
burritos, station wagon. Yeah. So, and how quickly they adapted to it. I mean, I am impressed by that. I mean, yeah, our high school teachers for our kid, some of them, some of them you'd probably tip them, and the other ones you'd probably like, well, maybe not. You don't need to be back in the job.
Sure.
Our elementary school teacher, phenomenal. Sends postcards to the kid, miss you, been wonderful. And it helps kind of keep the interest alive. So there's good and bad teachers out there, and shout out to at least the ones that are trying. We really appreciate you guys. I mean, because that's the big thing, is the keeping some type of normalcy in lives, and especially when you have a seasonal thing like school, 9 months a year or whatever, and just having some type of normalcy there.
Wherever you're at, for Marlene and all the teachers, I think Miss Stewart or Hot Pocket, can we just give you guys just a round of applause? So I just want to say thank you for all that you do. So thank you. I tell you, just at least the 4 hours a day that we get a little bit of work, we appreciate that. Marlene, what's your normal day look like now that you have to homeschool your kids and teach class? What does a normal day for you look like?
Well, I have been sleeping in a little bit later than I do during the school year.
I was about to rat you out on that, too.
How about you?
That's all right. Brian has to get up earlier so he can get some work done before the kids stampede down the stairs. But
sure.
We, from the beginning, also, I'm going to add that I am a low-key doomsday prepper. So I actually sent my whole class home with like hundreds of papers the Friday before they announced that they were canceling school, because I was like, this is coming. This is coming. My kids' desks at school are cleaned out. I sent everything home because I was like, we're not coming back this year. So
well done.
I, from the very beginning, set a pretty full schedule, I would say, from, 8:30-ish until 4:30. But I try to get all the homeschooling for my own children done in the morning by like 11 o'clock. And then I Zoom with my class. I have office hours twice a day for 2 hours. And so I'm working. I have to check so many papers a week and so many assignments a week and things like that. And so Most of my so far has just been trying to find the assignment if they did it anywhere. So I don't know. I'm working. I have staff meeting and I have a team meeting on Wednesdays. So I'm on Zoom like all day on Wednesday. But 2 hours a day Zooming with my kids and checking papers and making all the stuff for the next week. After that, I'm getting done in like 5 maybe.
Oh, wow. Have you thought about potentially getting peas and peas Mambo donkey to show up on
I have not.
See, you need to do that.
I wonder if that's an option. Maybe more kids would come to my Zoom session if we had a donkey on there.
It's only $50. Maybe we can get a discount because she's on the show or something. But
Sure. Also, I'm not trying to sidestep it, but I'll be an ass for $25. How about that?
Anyone have one of those horse head masks they can wear for us? That might work too.
We can get that.
I don't think they need any more trauma on there, to be clear.
Marlon, thank you for coming on. Again, if anybody wants to have any questions, just shoot our way, sfpradio@gmail.com, and we'll get those answers for you. So,
thank you, Marlon.
And also, just if you want to know more of Marlon's story, she's on episode 98 of the Southern Fried Philosophy podcast. You can scroll back and get her.
That long ago?
98. Can you believe that?
Wow.
98.
I would not think that. No.
All right, so that's going to do our show. Hey, buddy, that's a long one. Go ahead and send us out, Mojo.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. You can find us on pretty much anywhere you listen to your podcast at Google Play, Stitcher, iHeart, Apple iTunes. You can also check out our Facebook page at Southern Fried Philosophy. Our website is southernfriedphilosophy.com. We do have our playable links and show notes. Any type of bull crap we talk about, you can find it pretty much on the show notes. And we may make the keyword
no, don't do it.
unprecedented.
How do you spell unprecedented? Because I need to put that on the...
I was about to say
your wife's
perpetual.
a teacher. How do you not know how to spell?
That's because there was a pandemic back in his 4th grade year.
There was. Chickenpox.
So what I've been teaching my kids is if you double tap or right click on this word, it will spell it for you.
Wait, what?
If you're typing into any kind of word processing document and you have the little spell check thing turned on, you get a line underneath it that tells you something is wrong.
Yeah.
And then you just click on the line and it tells you how to spell whatever word you need.
Well,
that
goes against the double tapping that my vets have told me about. So
how about it? I just guess about what I think it's going to be, and I realize there's going to be a red line, so I'm just going to go back.
Google will be like, "Did you mean?" And you're like, "No,
absolutely,
no,
I meant that."
No. Oh yeah, that one.
Website. You can also follow us on the Instagram and Twitter as SFP Radio. Also want to shout out to my donor mother, Lisa. She was watching us on Facebook Live. So in honor of her son, Jamie, who I received a heart from 4 years ago. If you're not a registered organ donor, please go out there and sign up as a donor and save another life if you happen to not make it. So we appreciate you guys every week. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, and again, just to remind you that next week we'll have Ryan Lemond from Kentucky Sports Radio. I'm very excited about that. It's not Lemond, it's Lemond. If you can get your friends from New Hampshire to Vermont, Delaware, West Virginia, North or South Dakota, or Wyoming or Alaska, we would really appreciate that. So if you know somebody, have them listen to the show.
I'll be in West Virginia next week. I'll just hit listen to one of our episodes.
I would appreciate that. And then I'll even give you a hat. How about that?
Just like borrow somebody's phone for a minute and subscribe.
We're just going to, what if we get plane tickets to each one of these? We divide them up and just go there and play.
But plane tickets are cheap right now.
They are. They're super cheap. Thanks again for tuning in to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. And as always, keep looking up.